Good Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Happening today, the State Department of Children, Youth and Families will share what they found during a visit to a local daycare center being accused of fraud in a viral video. The manager of that facility is now speaking out, saying the facility is legitimate. The child care center has been open on Nicollet Avenue in Minneapolis for 8 years, but recently became the focus of people and politicians all across the country after it was featured in a video by conservative YouTuber Nick Shirley. In the video, which now has almost 2 million views, Shirley claims the center is fraudulent because of the locked doors, misspelled sign, and nearly empty parking lot. But Ibrahim Ali, whose parents own this center and is a manager there, says they serve roughly 50 to 80 kids on an average day and employ roughly 25 workers. Ali says Shirley shot the viral video outside of the facility's operating hours, which are Monday through Thursday from 2 to 10 p.m. and are posted on the door.
There's no fraud going on whatsoever. He came, I think it was 11 a.m. Obviously, there's no cars in the parking lot. If you look around, there's cars now. Yeah, because our employees are here. Our children are here.
Now, as for the now viral misspelled Quality Learning Center sign, Ali says it was a mistake by the graphic designer and will soon be fixed. The commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth and Families says staff members visited the facilities featured in the video at least once in the past 6 months, and children were present. She says staff visited the centers again yesterday to evaluate the claims made in the video. Well, fraud's obviously been a major topic here in Minnesota, and now the state is laying out more details about their plan to stop it. Here's Danny Spiewak.
From autism services to recovery centers, KARE 11 has exposed millions of dollars in suspicious Medicaid billing over the years. Now, the Minnesota Department of Human Services has partnered with the third-party firm Optum to add a stronger layer of review over 14 Medicaid-funded programs considered at high risk of fraud.
We'll now have more eyes on the documentation.
With this review process now underway, State Medicaid Director John Connolly says all 80,000 Medicaid claims in these programs have been temporarily paused in the latest pay period so that Optum can look for red flags in billing. This process will continue to happen every 2 weeks.
To look at claims trends. So is there a concerning spike in service that doesn't really make sense? Or is there an escalation in billing?
Once the review finds that claims are legitimate, DHS says payments may be released within 30 days. But some providers say this delay in funding could be devastating, leaving them without the ability to pay staff or even operate.
It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
Nikki Hansen, who works at 2 autism centers in Minnesota, joined us by Zoom before informing staff about the pause in payments. She fears that many legitimate providers may have to close if they can't get the money faster.
There's going to be thousands of kids that are no longer going to have any services.
We asked the state Medicaid director about those concerns on a virtual press call.
Do you have any sort of expedited process for those that really do need the money and are legitimate?
I think that's a really good question, and certainly something we've heard from some providers as well.
John Connolly says he's aware that smaller providers could be especially vulnerable if payments are delayed.
We will work with Optum to work through this process as quickly as we can and release clean claims as quickly as we can.
If DHS and Optum do find questionable billing, the payments may take longer, or cases could be referred to the DHS Inspector General for investigation. Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
To the weather now. Take it slow out there today. We have more snow falling across the metro. These light systems aren't going to bring a lot of snow, but the roads are still dicey after the blizzard on Sunday. So give yourself a few extra minutes to get where you're going. We are getting hit twice today, and we'll check in with our weather team in a bit for a closer look at the forecast. All the snow means snow emergencies are in effect across several cities. In Minneapolis, it's day 3, meaning you cannot park on the odd side of the street. If you're parked there and plows are trying to get through, you could be ticketed and towed. Now, over in St. Paul, the rules are a little bit different. This is St. Paul's winter parking map. You can toggle through the filters at the bottom. So right now, you should not be parked on day plow routes. Those aren't specifically marked by signs, so the map's going to be useful. St. Paul told us they towed hundreds of cars overnight because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Towing and impound lot fees started around $240, and that number climbs with each additional day at the lot. Millions of Americans are wrapping up the year with a blast of winter weather. Heavy snow and high winds in the Great Lakes and Northeast have created hazardous conditions on roads and slowed down air travel. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more from Chicago.
Hey there from Chicago, which got hit with this sudden brutal freeze. Temperatures plummeting roughly 40 degrees in 12 hours, while huge swaths of the Midwest and Northeast just got hammered with heavy snow. Parts of western New York getting close to 6 inches of snow, while here in the Midwest, really roads were an absolute mess. Near Detroit, we saw dozens of cars involved in a nasty pileup there. Parts of Michigan having whiteout conditions and wind gusts close to 70 miles per hour. Similar, at times, hurricane force winds also wreaking havoc on the East Coast, toppling trees, knocking over power lines. Hundreds of thousands of people just left in the dark. And in D.C., winds were so bad, planes were struggling to land on runways. Speaking of, more than 10,000 flights were delayed nationwide yesterday. All of this mess, of course, coming amid the final holiday travel rush of the year. Back to you.
Well, happening right now, a lot of people are not getting their flu shots. And Dr. Michael Osterholm, an epidemiologist and infectious disease expert, says that could put you at risk as millions of people travel for the holidays.
Well, let me say that really the flu season is just getting started. So I think it's really hard to say exactly what it's going to look like. Right now, as we stand today, we're about 3 million doses short of administering vaccine than we were a year ago at the same time. About 2.1 million people who would have gotten it at their doctor's office have not. And so it's not too late to get your flu shot, but I'm talking about hours to a few days to get it because this is wiping through. So I hope one message that comes away from this, it's not too late. Please get your flu shot if you haven't. It could be the difference from keeping you out of the hospital or dying.
Here are the latest flu numbers in Minnesota. New ones come out every Thursday. So far, there have been nearly 1,100 hospitalizations for flu across the state and nearly 130 school outbreaks. At this point, there have been no pediatric deaths related to the flu in our state. Right now, though, the CDC is reporting flu activity is going up with 7.5 million cases of flu this season. Health experts expect that number to continue to rise in the coming weeks. Right now, a 35-year-old man is now charged with second-degree murder for the death of a hospital security guard. Court documents say despite a medical hold, Jonathan Winch pushed his way out of the ER at M Health Fairview Lakes Hospital in Wyoming on Christmas Day. Documents say surveillance video shows him then beating 43-year-old Andrea Merrill, who was found next to her security vehicle unconscious. She died 2 days later at the hospital. According to the charging documents, the suspect reportedly stated, "I didn't mean to hurt her," several times. Andrea Merrill's death followed that of St. Paul firefighter Timothy Burtz. Burtz, who also served in the Harris and Lino Lakes fire departments, died from a medical event just 1 week ago. And that's hitting the military, law enforcement, and first responder community especially hard right now. The leader of the Invisible Wounds Project says they have a close connection to these cases, both in terms of proximity and calling.
There's something about just being around other people who understand and who get it. And, there's no pressure. If people want to, talk to someone, we'll have that available. If they just want to be around other people, we'll have that.
Russ Haynes, who you just heard from, says the organization's bringing in social workers, therapists, and therapy dogs, along with opening their wood shop and art studio and providing a coffee and conversations opportunity. For more information on Invisible Wounds, just go to our website, KARE11.com. An update this morning, teachers in the state's largest school district are one step closer to a possible strike. Last night, a mediation session between Anoka Hennepin educators and district leaders ended without an agreement. Union leaders say the district's latest proposal, quote, moved negotiations backward and included less employer support for health insurance. Both sides will meet again on Friday. Well, right now, you're going to want to check your fridge, pantry, and medicine cabinet. Hundreds of products sold across Minnesota need to be thrown out for concerns of rodent contamination. According to the FDA, Gold Star Distribution in North Minneapolis operated under unsanitary conditions, including the presence of rodent urine and bird droppings, where several products were being held. They say those conditions could cause products to be contaminated with bacteria like salmonella. The impacted products include candy, medicine, gum, pet food, cereal, spices, tea, and some condiments. They were sold at more than 50 stores across the Twin Cities. Now, so far, no illnesses have been reported, but we do have a full list of impacted items on our website, KARE11.com. New this afternoon, we know where Team USA, Sweden, and Canada will play their quarterfinal rounds in the World Juniors. Team USA will play at 5 p.m. on January 2nd. Sweden will play the same day at 1 p.m. Canada will play at Mariucci Arena at 7:30 January 2nd. Right now, Team USA staying undefeated in this tournament at Grand Casino Arena versus Slovakia Monday. Slovakia went up 3-1 on the U.S., but the Americans came storming back. Lakeville native Brendan McMorrow with the goal to make it 3-2. Third period, U.S. up 5-4. And Will Zellers extends the lead. It's the Maple Grove native's fourth goal of the tournament and third game-winning goal. USA wins 6-5.
That last goal is all Brody's team right there, and LJ. I mean, I just had to kind of get open there and make sure I'm not making too much of a kicking motion. I got a little nervous there when they reviewed it, but luckily enough it went in. But I think it's just hanging around that net. I mean, if you're not scoring, just go to the net. You'll find a way to get one off your skate after.
Team USA plays Sweden next. Puck drops on that game tomorrow at 5 in St. Paul. You can still get a ticket to that game for around $60. And don't forget about all the fun happening at St. Paul River Center and Rice Park to celebrate the World Juniors. Until 4 today, you can head over to Bowl North Breakaway Fan Fest. At Rice Park, there's horse-drawn carriage rides, ice bumper cars, and plenty of places to take photos. And inside the River Center, there's hockey-themed exhibits, food, and fun. Best part, it's all free. That festival runs through January 5th. Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.